Hey gorgeous, welcome to Lit Up Women Leaders, the collective. So here I am today and I'm addressing something that comes up a fair bit when I'm talking to women in the corporate space, and it can be this level of frustration around wasting your career or spending time doing the same stuff over and over again and not really being able to get any headway because you're constantly putting out fires, running all over the place and answering to the demands of other people, or responding to crises such as what we've been through recently. And it's really difficult for people to get that headway in terms of launching the projects that they really need to launch and getting some traction and getting some experience and some skills that they don't necessarily have to begin with before all of that. So I want to talk to this because I can relate to this level of frustration that comes around, feeling as though you're wasting your time, or feeling as though you're wasting your life, or feeling as though you're wasting your career. And it sort of goes with this life lesson, really, that, in every particular situation, there is some good that can come from it. So there is certainly something that you can learn from that particular situation. And we've all worked in those scenarios where, things aren't quite perfect, and you just make it work. You suck it up and you put your head down and you just keep going. And that's fine for a certain degree, but there comes a point where you need to start to move yourself forward and you need to be in control of your career and take that direction and take that front foot and be able to respond to what's going on in the marketplace and place yourself so that you can be considered someone who's valuable to the industry and who is, it's nice to be able to be chosen for roles rather than you having to apply for a role or to sidestep into a role that perhaps is not necessarily the next step on from where you're at the moment. So I really want to talk to this because I know that it causes some frustration for people, and I know that it's a real pain point for people who feel like they are constantly putting out fires, and it can happen a lot in certain types of roles. So work health and safety, for instance, or occupational health and safety, or human resources, and certainly to some degree in learning and development we used to experience that, where we were responsible for solving the performance issues that would come up that managers couldn't actually solve. So, I can certainly relate to that. And again, it's really important for you to be able to look at this situation and ask yourself, well, what is it that I'm getting from this situation right now? And it could be as simple as resilience. It could be that I'm building my muscle so that I can speak differently about the work that I do. Or it could be that you're stretching yourself in a way that maybe you don't necessarily want to stretch in, but you might be accumulating some skills that aren't all that obvious on the surface. So it's really worth sitting down and having a think about, well, what am I gaining from this particular situation? And what's going on beneath the surface? How is it stretching me? How is it causing me to grow? And I'm not an advocate for any particular cause of action, stay or go. I'm not here to advocate staying or going, but I am here to prompt you to think differently about your career and what you might be able to get out of your current situation. So one of the things that I really love working with women to do is to position themselves so that they can be seen to be an expert, be seen to be more valuable to the organisation, and to find those conversations that you can drop into where you can add some value, where you can educate people, where you can teach people something that perhaps they might not necessarily be aware of or know about. And it may be something that's related to their role that helps them with efficiency or effectiveness or communication skills or their ability to negotiate. Or it may be something that's completely unrelated. But I bet that there's something within you that you're able to actually offer people that you work with, your peers, your colleagues, your manager, your direct reports, that perhaps they might not necessarily be adept in. So I used an example in a previous video of if you know someone is struggling with the pressures of workload, then perhaps maybe time management is an issue for them, or prioritization, or knowing what they're here for might be an issue for them. So it could be a simple matter of you sharing something you know about time management, or a strategy or a tactic that you use that is going to be super valuable for them to help them save time or shortcut something. One of the things that when I was in my earlier career, one of the things that I was always finding myself in the middle of was, I'd land a new job in a situation where nobody knew what was going on in a particular type of situation. I went and I worked for some smaller companies as well as some bigger brands, and in those smaller companies everybody just got in and did whatever. There was no job description, there was no sure, we had titles, but there was no you do this and I'll do that. It was everybody gets in and does it together. And through that level of collaboration, almost collaboration that's not intentional, through that level of collaboration, you actually learn a whole lot about business. You actually learn about the gaps that are in the business that you might be able to fill. You actually learn about how you can be the person that everyone comes to when they don't know something, and they don't know it because it's new, or we've never done this before, or we're just launching this new product and we don't have any clue how it's going to go. So hello, welcome. I can't see who it is, I'm sorry, but hello, welcome. You might be the person who establishes themselves as, well, I don't know, but I'll find out, and then I'll teach you, or then I'll tell you, and then we'll both know. And so becoming that person who is the go-to person, that helps you in your career to increase your visibility. And with increased visibility and with that ability to say, well, I don't know, but I'll work it out, or I'll go and find out, then certainly that increases your level of credibility as well. So that's something for you to think about. Really think about what's going on in your environment and how can you add value in another way. If on the surface you don't actually feel as though this is the right role for you right now, then start to think about how you could shape it into a role that might be. How can you add value in ways that might surprise and delight people? How can you step up your communication skills so that you get to the heart of the matter better and quicker in conversations, and then you give people a sense of relief from that because all of a sudden you've helped them to pinpoint the issue without them even really realizing that there might have been an issue. Think about the books you've read or the seminars you've been to and the professional development that you've done that might actually assist other people. How can you share that? How can you pay it forward? Certainly in my role as a learning and development and organisational development manager, quite often we would ask people to come back from those sorts of events or professional development situations, training, events, seminars, conferences, whatever, trade shows, and share that information, share what they'd learned both formally and informally with other people around them. And what that does is it instills a level of confidence in you because you're sharing something that you know that might not necessarily have been part of your role, but you're sharing that with people in a way that helps add value for them. And so your confidence lifts, and also you're increasing the power of your neural pathways because you're cementing the information that you've just learnt because you're articulating it and you're sharing it with other people. That's actually a neurological, it's a way of neurologically cementing what we learn, as well as through application. Also, teaching others is a great way for you to do that. So there are various ways that you can actually look deeper within your role and find some joy and find some spirit and find some renewed energy so that you can actually reignite that career mojo for yourself and look at how you might be able to move about the organisation differently. At the moment, we're all working remotely. Great. But how could you maybe drop into other team meetings, do Zoom meetings, and add value for them, or share insights in another way, or connect with someone that maybe you haven't connected with in the organisation previously that you think you might be able to learn something from or contribute something to. So think about those things. And I really want for people to take the focus away from perhaps being in a role that is not quite them, and perhaps shifting that focus towards how they can actually get something from that role by giving first. So it's all about the concept of paying forward, really. So I hope that helps. I'm happy to answer any of your questions. So please tag me in this post with your questions. I would love to contribute any way that I can in terms of your challenges, but I just wanted to drop in and share that because it's a frustration that I hear from women all the time. And it's certainly something that seems to be gaining some momentum at the moment, with people taking on jobs and functions and roles that they probably previously weren't in. And it's causing some angst amongst people about where we're going in terms of the next six or so months. And I just wanted people to recognise that it's important for you to be able to see the lessons or see the value in where you are at the moment. And by seeing that value and bringing information, resources, help, assistance, guidance, mentorship, whatever it is, to other people, you can help yourself to really lift yourself out of that and reignite that spark for yourself. So I trust that helps. Please do tag me if you have any questions. Otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow.